The Ticket.
Beeler's in for Prater. It's Prater in the ball game here on Idaho Sports Talk. Appreciate everybody for tuning in to KTIK Sports Radio, The Ticket, AM, FM, KTIK.com. Download the app on your phone. You're good to go. This is going to be a big-time week for us. One of the bigger weeks of the year, which is kind of odd because there's not really any sports going on, but we're headed to Las Vegas tomorrow for Mountain West Media Days, which the event will begin on Wednesday. We'll do our show getting ready for it tomorrow with me and Bob from the Circa Sports Book and Casino Cabana. It's going to be great, but just keep in touch with all our social media channels and all this good stuff. Bob, you've been to a lot of these media day events in the past, and I'm sure you're looking forward to another one tomorrow. Man.
It's always interesting to see what the coaches have to say, what they think are going to be the strengths of their team. Sometimes they don't really want to get into weakness, and it's always good to see what the players have to say as well. We'll have it all for you.
Boise State, DJ Schramm, Riley Smith coming down representing the Broncos, and I think I heard Rick Neuheisel on the radio earlier today, the former coach, and he's been on this show too. He was saying every year he went to one of these where he didn't bring a quarterback, he was a little nervous about his team, because you want to have that veteran quarterback, that presence. He communicates well with the media and whatnot, and kind of from a PR standpoint too, puts your program out there in a good way. Not a lot of quarterback love in the Mountain West coming this year.
Well, I think part of it is that you have to be 21 to go. The Circa, the hotel that's hosting it, does not allow people to stay. So if you went down with kids, Johnny, you couldn't stay there. The Circa is 21 and up. So Torrey Horton, who's one of the best receivers, we were told is not coming from Colorado State because he's not 21.
Oh, you know that.
Talon Green can't come from Boise State. I'm not know whether they would have picked him or Riley Smith, but Talon Green is not 21.
Mm-hmm.
So that changes sometimes who you can bring. So, and to be honest, Las Vegas is a 21 city. I would not, if I was a coach, I wouldn't want to bring a guy that was under 21 because then basically they have to sit up in their room most of the time.
You make good points. Yeah, if you're a coach, you're a little concerned about bringing a kid down there who might not be younger than 21. Yeah. All right. Bob, we saw Wimbledon yesterday. Mm-hmm. There was a new champion, a new guard, and we were kind of talking about that. And 208-424-9300, you guys can participate in this one, but just in sports, when someone who hasn't won, whether it be an individual sport or a team, wins a championship, maybe that's not one of the flagship teams or athletes out there. A lot of times people like it. A lot of times maybe they don't so much, but you seem to be pretty happy with and I forgot his name already, with the Wimbledon champion yesterday. Yeah.
I'm going to start with tennis. I think the biggest problem tennis has that on the men's side, there's nobody good that's American anymore.
Yeah.
It's not in the top group.
Yep.
But I think the heyday of tennis was like in the late 70s, early 80s when you had guys like Borg and Connors, Becker and McEnroe. And those guys were all known. They took turns winning. They were epic matches. And if I'm running tennis, I am thrilled if there's going to be somebody that might be able to rival Djokovic, where maybe coming up in the next tournament, it's going to be the U.S. Open. Maybe Djokovic comes back and wins, and hoping that Alcaraz is in the finals or at least the semifinals. I think it's good for the sport when there's multiple people that can win. Now I'll go to the team side. The Denver Nuggets and the Vegas Golden Knights winning this year, I think beautiful.
Okay.
Because I think every fan base wants to believe that it's possible that if their team does the right things, they have a chance to win.
Absolutely.
And I think the NBA is the most guilty of, I guess the Patriots have won some, but over the years, I think the NBA has been most guilty of being the league that certain teams are contenders every year and certain teams are not every year. Every professional league has certain teams that are more of a contender than others. But I think that, you look this year to baseball, the fact that the Reds are contending. The Reds haven't done much for years. Tampa Bay, they've been pretty good over the last few years, but they've got the best record in the American League at this point. So I think it does help when you get new blood all the time, so that somebody doesn't feel like, their team never has a chance to win.
The NBA is the biggest of this, Bob, because they'll have 4 teams win in a 35-year period. Like they've went through those streaks before. Very top-heavy league. I'll tell you this. I
was going to say, I think one of the reasons is there's fewer players on the floor, and whoever the best player on the floor makes a much bigger difference when you're talking 1 out of 5.
Oh, you're talking why the NBA.
Yeah, and then basketball is such that if I want Michael Jordan to take the last shot for me, every time I can design a play that gets Michael Jordan that last shot. Yesterday in the game I went to in Colorado, Alan Trejo was a batter in the last inning, the 11th inning for Colorado. Because of the way the lineup fell, you couldn't say, oh, wait, I'm going to put up somebody else that I think is better. So I think basketball lends itself to the best team winning more often because one player can make a bigger difference.
Yeah, and it does feel like, well, with the Lakers and the Celtics and the history of the NBA, that they've just always been able to do things that other franchises couldn't also, and I agree with basketball too. It feels like whoever the best player in the NBA is, a lot of times his team wins the title. That's what we saw this year. Joker was the best player in the league, and his team won the title. What I like, and I don't love all this new blood, this new money, if you will. I'm not sitting here like JP likes to root for teams that he knows nothing about. He doesn't know the coach. He doesn't know any players. He won't remember the coach's name. He'll never remember a single player. But for 25 minutes on his couch, he gets a little smiley face because somebody not named, the Golden State Warriors or the big time, the Chicago Bulls, whoever the big team, Boston Celtics, didn't win the title. He loves that. And to me, I don't like the forgettable winners. This Alcaraz, whatever the hell his name is, who just won Wimbledon, I hope that this is the start of something and that he can come on and be the next great player in tennis, that this can be his era. And at some point, there's going to be someone that knocks him off. That's where I am with sports on this. I don't like the one and done out of nowhere champions that nobody ever hears from again. What I like, if in fact there is kind of an upset, say like Denver winning the NBA championship this year, I like it when those teams have to defeat like the current dynasty holder or a team that's done it before. I like the passing of the guard there, if you will. And I remember, growing up, when I first started watching the NBA in the Eastern Conference, it was the Boston Celtics and the Detroit Pistons. The bad boys had to work their ass off to be able to beat Boston. They eventually did it. And then you had the Bulls that came up and they had to work their butts off to beat Detroit. They eventually did it. And it's just kind of like, it's like this torch. You have to earn it. And when a team out of nowhere wins a title, they do it by beating a team that's won multiple titles before. That's kind of where I am, where I like it, like a boxing type of thing. I don't want Hakeem Rockman to knock out Lennox Lewis, and then we'll never know who Hakeem Rockman is again, unless he's still good and he keeps winning. But in his case, he didn't. So that's kind of where I am. You can be winning a title like your boy did yesterday in Wimbledon, Bob. But hopefully there's more to come from him.
Do you remember Buster Douglas's name?
I do.
Yeah, that's who I was thinking of when you're talking about.
I do.
But I think sometimes on a one-shot deal, one championship boxing match, or maybe one tennis tournament or one golf tournament, I think you have more of a chance for something like that to happen. If you're going to see it on the team sports, it's got to be a year where everything falls right for a team. If what they're going to be what you're describing. And JP, I think he was kind of throwing you under the bus. I thought maybe he was talking about your Bears team, because a lot of times we don't know who that coach is and who's even playing for them.
Well, I've been thrown under the bus before, Bob, and I just, I just like a little new blood. I mean, if the Vegas Golden Knights never win the Stanley Cup, is hockey better? I don't think so.
No, and you're right. A lot of times teams win it and you never really hear from them again, and that's fine, and they can go on to celebrate that title forever. My Sonics had the 1 in 79, and we lived off of that forever, still doing that, and they don't even have a team anymore. So that is special, too, for that fan base. But from an outside perspective, I want to see the best beat the best, and I like the dynasties. And when the dynasties finally lose, I think that's a good storyline, too. What do you guys think? 208-424-9300. It's our Cloverdale Plumbing text line. Give us some ammo for feedback finale. You like the new blood winning championships? Do you like the old guard remaining the old guard? How do you guys do that as sports fans? Bob, we got to get to one of the best in the business. He's a play-by-play broadcaster for CBS. He does several Boise State football and basketball games. His name's Rich Waltz.
And Rich has been with CBS for a number of years now. He's got 3 games coming up this season for Boise State. He'll be covering 10 Mountain West games. He'll be down at Mountain West Media Days, and we thought we'd catch up with him before Mountain West Media Days, kind of ask him what he's looking for.
Don't miss this interview. CBS, Rich Waltz coming up. Bob's in for Prater. It's Prater of the ball game. KTIK, the ticket.
From the Beacon Plumbing Traffic Studios, this is Ticket Traffic.